Hi there, James Rowe here, presenter of the Which Cars podcast. Join me and the Which Cars team as we cover the biggest motoring stories, including our exclusive research into car reliability.
When 5 to 9-year-old cars break down, they spend on average 4 days off the road. New to 4-year-old cars spend 4.8 days off the road. Now that might not seem like much in the general scheme of things, but that's a 20% difference. And that could be the difference, for example, if you break down on a Monday afternoon between getting your car back for the weekend or having to wait into the next week to having it repaired.
Should you buy a used car rather than a new one?
Unless you're desperate to get a car in exactly the colour or specification you want, there are plenty of low mileage used cars on the market with significant discounts on their new price. And if they're from a brand, say like Toyota or MG, which offer long warranties, then it can actually be quite a good option buying used because you'll still have that manufacturer cover behind you.
And why are car headlights so bright nowadays?
Car manufacturers want to make life easier for the driver, so they add these LED or laser headlights that illuminate the road ahead like never before, which is great if you're driving a car. Not so great if you're on the receiving end coming the other way.
To listen to the full podcast, head to which.co.uk/cars podcast. You have to be a Which member to listen, but you can get a membership for 50% off the usual price. All the details are on that page, which.co.uk/cars podcast. Hello and welcome to the Which Shorts podcast. I'm James Rowe. Each week on the podcast we delve inside one of the Which magazines, choose a piece that was written by one of our brilliant journalists and bring it to life, giving you loads of free, everyday advice. This week we're revealing the results of our extensive car survey, where we spoke to tens of thousands of car owners to rate and review the very best of the motoring market in 2025. In the February edition of the Which magazine, Michael Passingham outlined the winners and losers from our survey, hoping to give you peace of mind if you're looking to upgrade your motor. Before we get to the piece, let me tell you about a special Cars podcast that we've just released. I sit down with Michael and the Which Cars team to focus on more of our exclusive research from the 2025 Which Car Guide, plus the Answer Your Motoring questions. To listen, head to which.co.uk/cars podcast. But back to this show, here's Michael's piece, adapted for the podcast, this week read by Michael himself.
Dependable, comfortable, and easy to drive. It's what we all want from our daily runabouts, and the Lexus RX Hybrid is the model that comfortably topped the Which Car survey for customer satisfaction this year, earning a customer score of 97%. We surveyed over 60,000 car owners, and based on a combination of how satisfied they were with their car and how likely they'd recommend it to others, the Lexus came out comfortably on top. And don't be fooled into thinking this is a brand new top-of-the-range model. No, this is a car that came and went in the space of 6 years and was discontinued almost a decade ago, proving that fancy new features aren't needed for a car to be beloved. I bought it for reliability, and it's exceeded all expectations, one owner told us. Indeed, our survey shows it's one of the most dependable 10-plus-year-old cars you can buy, and is one of just 10 cars this age that managed to achieve the full 5-star rating in our reliability survey. Where owners found fault, and we did too, was running costs. The Lexus RX Hybrid managed just 35 miles per gallon in our combined fuel economy test in 2009, and just 26 miles per gallon on the motorway. We'd be happier with something closer to 50 or even 60 these days. In town though, it showed the virtues of hybrid motoring, managing an impressive 59 miles per gallon. In the world of EVs, it's the brand synonymous with electric propulsion, Tesla, that tops our list with its 2019 onwards Model 3. It received a 90% customer score. Not only is the Model 3 the most loved, albeit by a whisker, it's also by far the most reported EV on our survey with 380 respondents. Fast, quiet, easy, smart. Autopilot is great on motorways, and we couldn't live without it now, said one respondent. Although autopilot is a bit of a Marmite feature among other owners in our survey. Elsewhere, the top scoring car that's still available to buy new is the current Honda Civic full hybrid that launched in 2022, alongside the Toyota RAV4 plug-in hybrid, or PHEV, which was released in 2021. Before we get to the other end of the scale, it's worth mentioning that if you're a Which member, you can check the reliability score and in-depth reliability data of your car or any car you're thinking of buying. Just click the links in the show notes. This year's least loved car is the 2020 onwards Range Rover Evoque plug-in hybrid. Not only did this spend more time off the road for repairs than any other car, 21 days on average according to our survey, but owners also complained about its electric range, its size, and problems sourcing spares. And that adds up to it achieving the lowest customer score of any car in our survey by a big margin, just 57%. Owners regaled us with tales of lengthy waits for spare parts, including one example that was off the road for more than 10 months. Elsewhere, it was the 2012 to 2019 Renault Zoe that was the lowest rated EV with a 69% customer score, alongside the 2020 onwards Peugeot Eve 2008 hatchback, which also scored 69%. The least loved full hybrids were various Toyotas, but in reality they had higher satisfaction scores than the vast majority of pure petrol and diesel cars, the least satisfying of which is the 2017 to 2020 Vauxhall Crossland X with a 65% customer score.
This week, Michael Passingham was reading his own piece, originally published in the February edition of The Which magazine. To read it in full, then be sure to become a Which member. There's a link in the show notes for you to join at 50% off the usual price. You'll also find links there to our car reviews and our car reliability tool, exclusively available to Which members. Also only available to Which members is the Which Cars podcast, a one-off episode with Michael and the rest of the Cars team as we delve inside the 2025 Which Car Guide and answer your questions. Head to which.co.uk/cars podcast to listen. In response to our research, a Jaguar Land Rover spokesperson told us, ensuring our clients have the best possible experience of our brands is our priority, and the data tells us that vehicle quality at launch is the best it has ever been. We understand some clients experience delays with their vehicles awaiting parts for repair following JLR's transition to a new global parts logistics centre. Throughout this period, we increased our mobility fleet by 50% to ensure impacted clients were supported with courtesy vehicles. We have now resolved this disruption and will remain focused on providing the high levels of customer service our clients rightfully expect. We'll be back again next week for another episode of Which Shorts, but don't forget that you can also listen to the Which Money podcast every week, where we give you a dose of personal finance news every Friday. Just search for Which Money wherever you're listening. Which Shorts was produced and edited by me, James Rowe, while the exec producer was Samara McCarrath.
If you're enjoying this podcast from us here at Which, then why not become a Which member? Right now, we've got a special offer, especially for podcast listeners, meaning you can choose any of our 3 membership tiers for 50% off the usual price. Starting at just £39.50 for a full year, you can get Which magazine delivered direct to your door. For the same price, you could also choose a digital Which subscription, giving you access to all of our product reviews, the Which app, and the digital edition of Which magazine. What's more, you'll also be able to use the Ask Which service for personalised one-to-one buying advice. Or why not get a full access Which subscription for just £49.50 for a full year? Don't forget, that's 50% off the usual price. To join Which or to find out more, just head to which.co.uk/podcast offer. That's which.co.uk/podcast offer, or click the link in the description for today's podcast for 50% off a Which annual subscription.